Thanks, Anthony. My name is Julian. I work for Boomerang Nurseries based in Lara, near Geelong. Boomerang Nurseries is primarily a specialised vegetable seedling wholesaler. It prides itself on striving to supply quality seedlings that end up as quality Australian vegetables for us and our families to enjoy. Planting seeds at Boomerang Nurseries is what we do, and with that in mind, it is my intention to sell a few seeds market today about how we can better the branding of the amazing healthy vegetables as an industry we all in this room help produce and support. Initially at our first residential in Adelaide, under the heading of branding, we wrote as a group the following words: redesign, domestic, export, integrity and marketing. I put my hand up to investigate further the topic of the branding of Australian grown produce, in particular to see if we could revitalise and strengthen consumer confidence. But the number one word I kept on coming back to and that drove my initial passion was transparency. That what people brought was indeed what they thought they were buying. But where to begin? I decided I needed to do research, and with that in mind, my red kimono hat turned white. I decided I needed to contact Australian-made, AusVeg, various state vegetable bodies, and Australian produce growers to better understand the current landscape of Australian-grown produce branding. Of course, the internet was also used, as well as newspapers and publications. Do we need a new logo? Personally, from late March to July, we spent talking to people like Ben Lazaro from Australian Made, Nathan McIntyre and Kurt Herman from AusVeg, Deborah Corrigan, Andrew Bulmer, Adam Schruers and Craig Arnott, who are all respected vegetable growers from Victoria, on how they thought Australian grown produce was branded at present and if there was scope for change. The growers all sought transparency and of course wanted to showcase their fresh produce and all the associated virtues of healthy Australian grown produce. Ben Lazaro spoke of how the Australian-made logos were easily recognisable and an iconic form of branding that resonated across many demographics. The fact that Australian-made is government-owned but not-for-profit, audited independently as well as accredited independently, the case of rip-off in Australia can go before the ACCC and that the logo is backed over by overseas law in many countries in the event of pirate labelling were compelling reasons that a completely new logo may not be necessary. What sealed the deal for me, however, came from two fronts. First, I saw a video on YouTube featuring the CEO of AusVeg, Richard Mulcahy, stating AusVeg backed the use of the Australian-made iconic logo 100%. And secondly, the Australian government released a series of proposed new logos for discussion designed to give shoppers more transparency that features the Australian kangaroo, that features the iconic kangaroo in green and gold. Research around Australian grown produce labelling also began to cast light on another issue currently facing many people around the world, which is health. In particular, the fact that less than 15% of Australians eat the recommended 5 serves of vegetables a day. I began to imagine what Australia's domestic market of Australian grown vegetables could become if 80 to 90% of Australians ate 5 veggies a day. The thought that we are in our own way our own individual market crept into my consciousness. Perhaps the recently introduced government health star rating system could be incorporated into our branding to strengthen the connection that eating healthy produce equates to healthier people. Onto the goalpost. 2 for 1 in the sun. I arrived at the second residential. Next steps. Into the future, I would like to approach AusVeg on the possibility of incorporating the awards handed out to them into the proposed holistic branding. Perhaps a QR code placed near the award symbol could provide shoppers with insight into what the award was given for and to whom it was given. I would also like to contact Horticulture Innovation Australia and speak to HIA's marketing people to provide an insight into possible market access from their perspective and to see if HIA could shed some light on how to get this proposed holistic branding approach at least into the minds of organisations that might benefit from such a proposal. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the branding strategy part of my presentation. I would now like to share with you what I've learned along the way about leadership, being in the Growing Leaders 2015 course. From the very first residential in Adelaide, I learned a great deal about myself and my leadership style. Not that I ever really thought I had leadership style per se, more that I was passionate about my role at work and that people around me, and I had people around me at work who required direction or steering, and that's what I provided. I learned about my personality and how it affects my leadership style.
that I am mostly conscientious, agreeable, open, slightly lacking in confidence, not really an extrovert, or more to the point, a bit of an introvert. Early on in the course, I learned that to be an introvert is actually okay, and that introverted people can still play a role within a team. I learned that we all have value no matter which personality style we fit into. I learned that my agreeableness may be the reason I can sometimes find it hard disciplining others, but that also being agreeable can also highlight understanding and cooperativeness, traits that I admire. Therefore, I learned that for me, leadership is about finding a balance in order to cooperate, to give and take, to find a way to success. I learned that my personal power sits between expert and referent power, that some people are driven by reward while others are driven by work ethic and quality of work. I learned that effective communication is crucial to achieving effective outcomes. Finally, I've seen many diverse presentations from people within the Australian horticulture industry, and subsequently I've gained great insight from that. I'd now like to invite Charmaine Archer to start the second education group presentation.